All right. Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Women with Mojo conversation with an inspiring women over 40 show. I am Jill Lebowski, your host, and apologize for getting on here a few minutes late. That's always the way it is. That's okay. We just roll with the punches here. But I am really excited to share with you a lot of things today and my special guest that I have. But I just want you to know that when I started my company and I named it Midlife Mojo, that's because Midlife Mojo means magic. And that's what these years, your 40s and 50s and 60s and beyond, should be. They should be magical, adventuresome, they should adventurous, they should be full of passion, a time to grow, a time to learn, share, all that good stuff. And so I created this interview series to highlight women that I felt were already doing that to help inspire us all. And I'm excited to bring on my guest today, Catherine Kane. And I'm just going to read to you a little bit about Catherine before I bring her on. So, Catherine was born in the Philippines and immigrated to Chicago when she was 2 years old. When she was 10, she moved to Massachusetts and after graduation, attended the University of Rhode Island and graduated in 1992 with a BS in nursing. She has worked as a bedside nurse since graduation, along with research jobs focused on improvement in patient care. Her last 16 years were in the role of an ICU float nurse and clinical resource nurse at Tufts Medical Center in Boston. Her nursing career, though, was abruptly ended by a post operative complication that caused septic shock and a low chance of survival. She attributes her survival to preventative care, especially in regards to nutrition and physical activity, as well as personal development. Catherine was an avid runner, finishing many races, including 10 marathons and several triathlons. Just props to her right there on that alone, right? As a career shift, she became certified as an integrative nutrition health coach to encourage and guide people in ways to balance their life, not only with food and exercise, but in regards to their emotional, spiritual, financial, joy, career, just to name a few. She has also been an independent consultant with Arbonne International since 2012, promoting holistic health inside and out with vegan certified personal care and nutritional products free of harmful chemicals. Catherine has lived in several places in Massachusetts and has settled in the last 17 years in Wilmington, Mass, with her husband Dave, two teenage daughters, Lindsay and Gillian, their dog Nicholas, and I think her cat might make an appearance, Ash, we're going to see, both rescue animals. So let me bring Catherine on. All right, there you are. Welcome, Catherine. Thank you for coming here today.
Oh my gosh, Jill, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I'm very excited just to talk a little bit about how we know each other and kind of unravel your whole story a little bit and get into what you're doing now. But just for those of you out there who are listening, my connection to Kathy, I always just bring you people to my audience who I connect with. And so Kathy and I connected actually a long time ago. Yes, we, I saw that you dated yourself a little bit by saying when you graduated with your nursing degree, but we graduated together from Long Meadow High School in 1988. Go class of 88, woohoo,
Yeah.
right?
Woohoo.
Yeah.
Same
And
place.
I always say, I'm sure you probably don't remember this. I was telling my sister you were going to be on today. And so I was just, you start thinking about high school. And so my class senior superlative was class ghost. And I always tell people it wasn't because
Oh,
people didn't know who I was, but it was because my teachers always called me the part-time student because I would just show up for the classes that I wanted to show up for, kind of. And people would clap when I would show up. And although I graduated with honors, I definitely spent a lot of time in the photography darkroom, picking and choosing. So I was telling
that's
my daughter
fun.
this, and I was just saying, I swear, I was a goody two shoes girl, but there were some things I did that were just dumb, and I'd kill you for if you would do the same thing. So, Kathy, I remember you kind of as a goody two shoes kind of girl a little bit too, but I just remember you as being friendly and always smiling. So, knowing you became a nurse doesn't seem like that much of a stretch from the girl that I knew and the woman that you turned into. But I just remember that it was probably a couple of years ago. So I'll be honest, I didn't really keep up with high school people all that much or high school life. But, here on Facebook, we all get somehow connected. And so I was part of I had just joined actually a couple of years ago, the high school year Facebook group or whatever. And I saw in there all these posts and, prayers for Kathy, hold Kathy in your heart, all these things. And I kind of remember reading the story. And then a couple of months went by and it was like, welcome home, Kathy, and all of this. And I was like, what went on kind of in there? And then recently you reached out to me, and I'm just so grateful that you did because I got to hear your story and your journey. It's been an incredible story and journey for you. And I just knew that I had to have you as a guest on my show because it
Mhm.
really, you are, a true inspiration from really from just being a nurse to where you've, what you've survived personally to how you're giving back. So, with that being said, I just want to kind of dive into the interview a little bit, but I always like to start my interviews with people just getting to know you. I don't know, a little bit on a a little bit more, a little deeper, and just ask you the question in this moment or just right now in in your life. What are just three things you're thankful for or grateful for? Oh, I got two of those. They're outside. All good.
Sorry.
All good. All good.
This is
Never.
real life, right? Yeah.
I love real life. That's exactly it, right? And so, absolutely. So, tell me, so thankful for. I hope those beautiful pups because that's always one of my number one things.
Oh, yes. Well, I am very thankful for what you had mentioned, having Facebook and technology and being able to connect this way because you're all the way in Florida and I'm here in Massachusetts. So very grateful for that and very grateful to reconnect with you. And, I saw I don't know, I just saw your picture on Facebook and I'm like, my gosh, Jill Kaufman, what is she doing now? And you just look very vibrant. And I was like, I have to know what she's doing. So and then it was just awesome that we found out that we were kind of doing a lot, some similar things, which I guess we'll talk about in a little bit.
Yeah.
Another thing that I'm grateful for is this changing season, this new season that we have, fall. It's my favorite. And it's I feel like it's just such a nice time of just such a beautiful time of year. The third is just to have woken up this morning and just being able to, be on this other side of life,
Yeah,
So those are my
absolutely.
three.
Absolutely. I love that. So I'll go along with two of them. That change of seasons things. That's why I live in Florida. We don't need my
Yeah.
I love my single season. I said to my daughter yesterday, I'm like, I put a little sweatshirt on when I was driving her to school like 7:30 in the morning because it was 74. And I'm like, ooh, fall is
Oh,
coming. I'm like, fall is coming. You could totally, and by of course 8:39, it was like, stripping everything off down to your, it's already 90. But anyway, so well, let's get into a little bit about you and getting to know you because that's really why we're here and what the show is all about is hearing about, how you kind of have found your mojo. So I always like to kind of start at the beginning, right? And so you've been a nurse, I think you said since 1992, is that correct? So that's
that's
a
right.
long time, right? A couple of decades here. So what initially, besides the helping, others, what drew you into that field?
Well, I was heavily influenced by my mom. I'm sorry about
It's all
this,
good. It's
the
all good.
the dog. She was a nurse for many years, and I could just see that she was able to have her family, have her career, and
Mhm.
honestly, I always thought that I would be helping people in some capacity, and um, I just chose nursing, and I almost quit while I was in college because it it was something that was just really hard for me. But I'm glad that I persisted because I know that you could do a lot more with it, and I've met so many people I've connected with. Just learned so much about myself, and just really grateful that I just stuck with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
20 years, that's more than just stuck with it, right? That was kind of,
yeah, yeah.
I'm assuming that kind of became your life, right? That was who you identified as, Nurse Catherine, right? That's, Catherine Kane, RN. I don't, right? That's kind of what you identified as for a long time. And you were specifically an ICU nurse, which is really a very, I would assume a stressful position as well as you did a floater. So you were kind of all over. So having your hands in everything. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes. Yeah. I was floating between the 5 different ICUs we had. And then sometimes if they didn't need us in the ICU, they would have us being resource nurses. So we would have help the nurses on the floor. If there were any emergencies, we would run to them. And start IVs on the night shift because there was no IV team then. So we were just kind of like doing everything. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
that helped a lot
yeah, definitely.
with,
And I'm sure you've seen a lot of things,
oh,
as well. And I always have, having spent time, not myself, but, with parents in ICU and watching the level of concentration and the just the knowledge and the caring and the like cool as a cucumber demeanor, whether that's really what's going on in their head or not. It's truly amazing. And so, but I do know that it was stressful. And so how, thinking back over those years, what were your outlets for stress? Like, how did you kind of handle all of that? Because it was a lot, I'm sure.
it was. And I mean, I really have to give credit to a lot of the people, my coworkers, and just the way that they handled it as well. We were a team a lot of the times and we really depended on each other. But um, my big outlet for stress relief was running. I did not ever think that I would like running. I played soccer in high school and I hated it. I was like, oh, we have to run. And that was only for 1 year. And then I just decided to do it one time. I think I was like 27 at the time. And I was like, oh, running's kind of fun. And I got to meet some other people. I was in a couple of different running clubs and just, it's all like the people that you hang out with is how,
Yeah.
they influence you. And um, I mean, like I said, it could have gone either way. So I'm glad that I was able to befriend a bunch of healthy minded people. And then I got into triathlons and, I really liked swimming a lot. Biking is not really my thing, but running, the running part was. So that was great. And then I did not know about like any like meditation or anything like that or yoga, but so that was my main
Yeah,
outlet.
physical activity,
Yeah.
absolutely. One of the greatest stress
Yeah.
releasers, physically, emotionally, it does so much, amazing stuff for us. And so, what I think your whole background, especially your triathlons, right, prepared you for what we're going to get into in just a little bit when your life kind of took a turn and what you had to survive. Because, and I'm sure from a physical, maybe you'll explain some of that and your resilience. I know, but I just think for someone to have the mental strength to train for something like a triathlon, to make the commitment to their health, the things you have to give up in order to do those kinds of things.
Mhm.
I wasn't joking when I said props to you. I mean, I joke around. I said I'm a fake runner. Like I think I've run. Actually, it just popped up on my Facebook memories. Like oh, time to run my yearly 5K. I've run like 3 of them. Like always the same exact time, and it's like always coming in behind the ladies pushing the strollers. So like
Oh,
but I
that's
always
okay.
ran. I never walked. I said I always ran. That was my goal, right? It didn't matter. And I that little bit that I did, right? I know what that took, right? And so to be able to take that, I think it's the groundwork for a lot of who you are now and what you went through and so forth. And so you've been always, I mean, yes, you were a soccer player, but you weren't always health conscious. It was really more just the running was kind of your thing. Were you a healthy eater as well, or?
Um, Not always. It wasn't until hmm, when did I really? Well, it wasn't until like 2010, or I took this challenge where it was a clean eating challenge, and I had no idea how food was affecting me at all. I was just listening to whatever we were told to eat,
Yeah.
the food pyramid and
Yeah.
all of that, and
Darn food
and just
pyramid. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So it was yes, and I when so it basically just kind of this program just gave you an awareness of what food was going to how it was affecting you by eliminating some things that were triggering allergies or causing like addictions, like processed foods, gluten, dairy, excess sugar. Just it was mainly like the processed foods, which
Mhm.
I it's that's like the easiest thing that you can
Yeah.
just go into a store and just buy, right?
When you have a
And
family,
then
everybody likes it.
yeah, exactly. And now and from now I know like how food is like manipulated then to cause us to be addicted to it with the sugar and the fat and the salt. So anyway, I realized that dairy wasn't, so great for me. It was causing like inflammation, and that really set me up for, I think, just like something probably I'm going to be talking about, just how like the compound effect, just a little positive changes along the way can add up to, to a lot of good things. And so yes, so then I started more of a healthier eating. Now I don't eat meat. Well, it's mainly more for ethical reasons, but so I think, I'm a pretty healthy eater now. But
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I mean, I think that really helped my body, as we're going to probably talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Yeah.
think that, we're all first works in progress, right? We had to start somewhere, and
Yeah.
I, like you said, you hit the nail right on the head. The small changes that we add into our life and so forth. But I think it was important to note that you said that you surrounded yourself with people who were kind of moving in the direction you wanted to go, right? I mean, there's like there's scientific fact about that. You are kind of the product of the five people who you spend the most of your time with, right? And so you get to
Hmm.
decide who those people are. And there's some people in your household you can't decide about, right? So, but in general, you get to decide who and what you bring into your house, into your body, into your mind, into your life, and setting that stage. So let's talk a little bit, if you wouldn't mind. I'm going to kind of like just turn this over to you for a little bit because I want you to kind of just take us on the journey of so you were moving along in your life. So let's first your family. You've got two. How many kids do you have?
I have two girls.
Two girls, right? Okay,
Yeah.
and they're how old right now?
Jillian is 14 and Lindsay is 16.
Okay,
So,
so 14 and 16.
fun,
Yeah.
fun.
Oh yes, I've got one of those teenage girl things. I understand. Two, I
Yeah.
don't know if I could do, but one I'm doing all right with. And so when you with this all right, so you're a mom of young kids moving going back a few years ago before as you're raising your family, you're working full time or part time. I'm not sure what you were doing. You're doing it all, right? The kind of thing all of us, a lot of us were doing. You're just kind of running with just running basically just running all over. Your life is all over the place and you're just getting through the days and so forth and not saying. And then, like the universe, like our body likes to do sometimes, to stop us from that hamster wheel of life, it slams us with something, and sometimes it's small, something that stops us in our tracks, and in your case it was something big that made you stop. So I'm just going to kind of turn this over to you a little bit and just share with us kind of, how many years ago this was and what was going on in your life at the time when this happened, this event happened that almost ended your life, and just, just the aftermath of it and, in your recovery, all that kind of good stuff. And I may pop back in here and there just to ask a couple questions, but I'm just going to turn it over to you for a little bit.
Okay, sure. Thank you, Jill. Well, I had been dealing with, I don't know if it was just because my mom was also menopausal pretty early when she was 42. I was dealing with heavy bleeding and like irregular periods. It's a lovely thing to be a woman sometimes, but uh, it was really causing to have a problem for me as far as being anemic. My doctor was wondering what's causing my anemia, and I had a colonoscopy, I had an upper endoscopy, and they couldn't find the source of the bleeding, and so we decided it was probably just because of my heavy periods. I had an appointment, and they said, "Oh, you have a very large fibroid, and so let's see if we can manage it medically." And I don't know if this had like anything to do with it, but I had irregular periods growing up, and so I was taking birth control pills for just to regulate it because I was getting them my period every 2 weeks. So, and that was not very fun, but um, I ended up having this large fibroid. They put in an IUD, and then that stopped it. Well, I started like some hormones, like I think just progesterone, and that wasn't working. And so we decided on this IUD that was supposed to last for 5 years, and then ended up only lasting for about 2 months. And then I started having this heavy bleeding again. I was actually hospitalized overnight because I needed blood transfusions for the bleeding. And then they said, all right, we have to take this fibroid out. I said, that's fine. So it was this all happened like 2017, 2018. In May of 2018, I ended up having my fibroid out. She said that I guess it was larger than they thought. It was in the operating room longer than I was expected to be. And I came out into the recovery room. I wasn't feeling great. And the doctor had talked to my husband and said, oh, well, we punctured her uterus, but it should be fine. And I ended up going home. I ended up coming back in because I was in so much pain that same night. I think it was pretty much just like I came in, I couldn't even sit down. I couldn't lie down, stand up. It was just unbearable. And I ended up going back to the hospital. They just kind of did a quick examination. Honestly, I think they thought I was looking for pain medication because I asked them to just put in an IV. You know, the nurse in me just came out and I was like, just put in an IV, give me an IV pain medication, and because I can't take this anymore. And so they ended up, doing that. I felt better for a little bit. I went home with a prescription, came home, slept. It was probably about 2 a.m. when I got home. I was sleeping on the couch and then just did not feel right at all. This happened all day Friday, Saturday. We were kind of in communication with the doctors about it, but it all happened on Sunday. I had thrown up and then I couldn't breathe. And then my husband, he was home. Thank God he was just home like this whole time. He called and they said, just take her to the emergency room. I came there. I went to the emergency room. They did an x-ray, found out that I had all this intestinal fluid in my belly. And they took me to emergency surgery right away. That was the last thing that I knew of. And then I woke up, I looked at the calendar. I knew that it was June 3rd when I came in, looked at the calendar. It was June 14th. And my husband was there. And I said, what's going on? And I remember a nurse was telling me, oh, you probably have a lot of questions, but we'll address those later. And I said, I don't even know what I'm supposed to ask. So it turned out that I was in this medically induced coma for 11 days to repair this hole in my, that had, because of the puncture in my uterus, it also went right to my small intestine and had leaked. And I was in septic shock, which is just a culmination of it's just a massive bacterial infection. As you can imagine, your intestinal fluid it's not clean at all. And it's not supposed to be floating around in your abdomen. So, because of my blood pressure I was in septic shock. My blood pressure was dangerously low. I had a lot of IV medications. And when I woke up, I had no idea what was going on. My fingers were black. They were kind of contracted like this. And I remember just feeling like a pain in my belly. And of course I had questions. And then I just felt like I had, my shoes were on really, really tight. And I remember waking up I must have fallen asleep, woke up, my mom was there. I was like, well, what is my mom doing here? Because she lives in Houston and we're here in Boston. And then I had all these other people in the room and it was just very surreal and then I remember them telling, I said, what's wrong with my feet? Are my shoes on? What's going on? And I remember just, my friends saying, don't let her look at her feet because she's going to be really disappointed because my toes were also black. I ended up having 7 surgeries during that time. Like I said, they couldn't close my belly all the way. So they had this vacuum dressing covering it with a sponge. And then I also had an ileostomy, which is, like a colostomy kind of thing. And I was like, what the hell is going on? What happened to me? And then the nurses, told me about, you had, or I think it was Dave. I don't even remember who told me, but they said, I didn't even know how many surgeries I had until I went home. They said, you had a hole in your small intestine, and this is, you had all these things happen. I was also had a continuous dialysis machine going on that was loud as anything. So I was wondering, like, what's going on? I was also hallucinating because I was on a lot of different medications and it wasn't getting cleared out because my kidneys weren't working well. I ended up being in the ICU for, I don't remember, it was up until 2 weeks before I went home. And then I got transferred to the regular floor. But while I was in the ICU, I had to, they stopped the continuous dialysis. They had to change my IV. I was like hallucinating and I had this fever and I had like to have all these drains put in because I had some collections in my belly. And, as a nurse, like I knew what was going on, but I didn't. And sometimes it's to your own detriment, when you know too much and something's going on. And I just remember like a funny story. My nurse was, I remember she was, I think it was like early in the morning and I ended up being good friends with her. But she said, okay, it's, time to get up or you should be going back to sleep. And I said, well, can't I just go swimming right now? With my dog, he's waiting for me. I remember all these kind of crazy things and just seeing like pink elephants on the wall. It was crazy. And, I was just put in the perspective of my patients. And I remember I've dealt with a lot of people who were hallucinating or just being like very uncooperative. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm one of those people that I've had to deal with. So that was just a very hard thing. I had lots of big lines in my neck. I ended up having this scar above my lip from my breathing tube digging into me. And my mom, thank God, she was an ICU nurse as well. And she was just saying, you got to move that thing. It's digging into her face. And just the whole thing about being a patient, it was just, and the days are really long. And, everybody who comes in to see you, they just kind of just stare at you because they don't know what to do with you. And you're like, why are you just like staring at me? And I couldn't eat anything. I had a feeding tube in my nose and for a long time. And because I had my breathing tube in for a long time and it was kind of in and out, I had a paralyzed vocal cord and just having to go through all these tests, like having to go through this barium swallow. If anybody has ever had to do that, it's like the most horrible thing ever, where they try to disguise like the barium with this banana flavor. Anyway, they just want to see if you
Hold
can
on a
swallow
minute. I'm
without
interrupting
getting
you.
what.
In a former life, I was a speech language pathologist, and my job
Oh,
was just to do nothing but modified barium swallow studies. I
oh,
literally, for 2 years, that's all I did. So don't rag on the MBS. All right, sorry. Go on.
no, yes. Well, I think it was like the combination of I'm sure you were very nice, but the person who was doing it, oh my gosh, she was like the most chipper person and she was so annoying. I'm like, don't make me swallow that again. But so I ended up going home because I said, no way. They said, you should be in a rehab. You're going to get you're going to get a feeding tube because you can't eat. I'm like, no, that's not happening. I am going home. I don't want to spend another day outside, not sleeping in my bed. So even though my feet were like horrible, I was able to just kind of move, they had to clear me by doing stairs up and down. And I said, I'm freaking doing it because I have to go home. So I ended up going home after 39 days in the hospital. My feet didn't really get healed. I had to wear these ugly, like fleece slippers for the longest time because my feet wouldn't be in shoes. And I was in and out of, like, as you can imagine, like doctors' offices. On my left foot, my big toe looked like it was starting to get better, but it ended up falling off. And I ended up losing eventually in these last 3 years since, I've lost all my toes on my left foot. And then my right foot, I had surgery on it, and it was, they still are not the same. So, needless to say, I've not been running, which was, I didn't realize like how much of my social life it was. That running was, I'm able to swim, but it's just really, I don't know if you're going to ask this later, but just what it was just really just such a very surreal experience. A lot of times, like I want to forget about it, but I think it was like, I think you had touched about it, like the whole, I had been doing a lot of personal development on my own because of, uh, my company with Arbonne. We focus on a lot of personal development, and I think that's really what helped me. I did start to meditate like before. Sorry, my cat is like right above me, so if you see him, he might be getting into the
He's
picture.
not. Yeah, he's not.
Yes, he's, oh my gosh. So anyway, but I knew that, like you had said, you decide like how you want to feel. It's really up to you. And that's really like a big lesson. Like you could easily, I mean, the easy way I think was to just isolate myself, not like feel sorry for myself. But I had two impressionable young girls that I needed to show like you need to just kind of go on with your life. Yes, acknowledge your feelings. And I definitely did. I mean, I had a lot of different feelings. And um, it was just, yeah, it was just a choice, like how you're going to feel, how you're going to move on with your life. And because I couldn't physically, the physical damage to my feet and to my hands, I couldn't go back to nursing, even though the job was open for me, but there was no way that I could go back. Also, I was like recovering from surgery, like every couple of months. So for various things for my feet and with my belly and all that. So I found out about this awesome online program,
Right. Well, before we
the
get into that,
Institute of Integrative
yeah,
Nutrition. Okay,
I want to.
I
I
will
want
get
to.
into that.
No, before I get to, because I want to honor your story without a doubt. All right, because you've just been sharing your
Okay.
story for a good long time now. I don't. We've got some people watching. You've got things like good for you. You're a very strong person, right? I mean, that was a whole lot. I mean, I was writing down. I thought that you've been through. I had no idea. You've shared with me, but I mean, hearing it again, you know, and I was watching you as you were saying it, and I was like, "Oh gosh, I'm making her, go through this whole thing detail." And I hope that it's okay because but I think the more that we tell our story, and sometimes we tell all the little details, like today, which I wanted you to, so that people could really see where you've come because we're about to get into where you're going, right? But,
Mhm.
whatever it is, I think it's really important to honor that story, whether you tell the short version, the long version. But, and so I'm grateful that people are on here today, cheering you on, hearing where you've come, because now I want to kind of move into what you've done, where you've gone since. So at this point in your story, you said your hands and your feet weren't the same. Although your job was open, you weren't able to go back to the job. A social life that was a huge part of your life, you weren't able, had to kind of regroup. I mean, that is, we can fluff it off as women. Oh, I just regrouped myself and I did it. And come on now, right? That's not that
Yeah.
doesn't happen, right? Right. Okay. We don't snap our fingers, and I'm sure it's still a process that you're dealing with, and an ongoing as we figure out in midlife. Doesn't matter whether we've had something like what you've gone through, or whatever in midlife. I think we all just have to honor our journey, where we've been, and learn from it and move forward. And so I love that, like you said, you kind of had to be there for your kids and show them life goes on, right? I mean, and you were truly given a second chance at life. So let's talk about kind of how you're sort of using this new leash on life, right? So as opposed to it being, you know, second choice or an unfortunate ending, it's actually a positive new second chance in life, right? That's what we talk about here in the Midlife Mojo group, is all about our second act and what are we going to do, right? I'm always
Yeah.
reinventing. Oh, I knew the kitty would
Yeah.
make myself known. My dog, if I was to open my door right now, we'd be charged. Like I can hear them
Oh
scratching
yeah.
at my door. So I definitely want to kind of talk a little bit about what you are, doing, have done since. So after you kind of knew your nursing career was done, how did you kind of, I know you mentioned integrative nutrition. So you and I both went to school at integrative nutrition. So tell me a little bit about, just a little bit about that experience and how you came to want to go into health coaching and so forth.
Yes. Well, thank you, Jill. Yeah. Well, thank you for letting me share. Well, let me think about how this happened. I was just reading because I had a lot of time. I was
Mhm.
just reading on Facebook how somebody had talked about this coaching program, and it was online. And I said, "Well, yeah, it's online. This is great." And that was in 2019, so before everything went online. So the Institute of Integrative Nutrition is, well, the largest nutrition school in the world, and it was holistic. So that is really what I wanted to. That really turned me on because I believe that in nursing we always focused on the whole person. Although a lot of times, in ICU care, it was just really about the disease. But um, I really believed in how believed in and was fascinated by how your mental health affects your physical health, and like what you put into your body affects your mental health and your physical health, and then just of all the other things in life that feed you, like what I had mentioned, like in my bio, your relationships, your finances, your joy, your spirituality, things like that, and just how when you could have, like, I've known so many people, they are like in the best shape, they go to the gym all the time, they eat like all organic foods that from some big farm somewhere, but their relationships, they have like no relationships with that are fulfilling to themselves, or their finances are out of order. Just so I thought, when I learned about this program and just like with their philosophy, I thought that was just really something that I wanted to focus on, and I knew that um, it was something that I could really expand on, especially with my Arbonne business too. We focus on the whole person and just healthy living from the inside out. So it kind of went hand in hand with what I was already doing, because I had done, I was an Arbonne consultant for years before this, and I believe, the healthier path that it led me to really helped me survive what I did, because that's what the doctors were saying. Oh, she's young and she's healthy. That's all they could say to reassure my family during those 11 days that I was out, because they were like, is she going to be okay or or not? But so what they can you hold on, Lindsay?
Yes.
I'm on something here. You have to be quiet.
The chips over. He was eating.
So yeah, but we can hear him. Pardon
Tell her,
me.
tell her she's on video and we can hear everything.
Yes. Oh yeah, you could. So I finished the program. I took the 6-month program, the accelerated program. Said, all right, well, this is something that I know I can do something else with, and that I could do it online. And I have coached, actually. So my my niche was as I wanted it to be. It was women who were athletes and who just wanted to eat better and things like that. I mean, that was just kind of my basic thing, because I was just starting out. So far, my 2 or 3 clients have been all men, kind of athletes. Like, okay, well, so maybe I could focus on that, just because now, geez, I've know of like men in their 50s, and they're all like dying of heart attacks or some kind of cardiac related things. And like, maybe they're the ones that need the coaching. So
It's interesting you say that
we'll
because,
see.
yeah, because I feel really strongly, just from my own husband's life and his own experiences, his own mental health things that he's gone through, and that men are women. We gather, we talk about health, we find groups, we do all of these
Mhm.
things, and men don't. for the most part, and
Mhm.
they get sick, they die before us, they all these things, and they just, and so forth. And so, I think that, coaches for men are really important, because ultimately, even though this is a group for women, right? They're married to women, right? There's women want them sticking around for a long time. They want these relationships. When you say unfulfilling, well, sometimes it's because their spouse isn't fulfilled in their health or their well-being, and it reflects, in
Mhm.
the relationship. So definitely, an excellent. And I just have to say, I don't know if you can see, I put this on special. It's sort of like the IIN logo there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, when I graduated, like, I was
That's
somewhere
wild.
up in the Boston. Actually, we were up in Kennebunkport, Maine. We were visiting my sister, and I saw it somewhere. I'm like, oh my god, I have to get that, because I had just graduated for
Yeah.
myself. But
That's
yeah, so
that's
tell
awesome.
me, just, because we got some people on here watching and so forth, and I just tell us, like, what do you think is the main cause of poor health in this country, if you had to think of something?
Um, I would say, I don't know. I if I have to narrow it down to just one,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's, well, I guess it's like mindset, being in the mindset of thinking that being healthy is too hard and it's not really worth it. I mean, and I get a lot of people, they're like, well, we only have one life to enjoy, um, just indulge yourself or whatever, because you're going to die anyways. But at the same time, I'm like, but yeah, you probably will live, but are you going to live like a life that's, that has high quality, and that you're going to be, you know, um, like live a vibrant life?
A
So
life of
I
mojo,
don't know.
right? Yeah,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
yeah, no, absolutely. And I agree, there's so many things that are affecting, but I agree. I always say that everything that we do starts with a thought, starts with up here, whatever we put in
Mhm.
our mouth, whether we choose to get off the couch to exercise, whether we choose the candy bar or the apple, it all starts here, right? It all starts what's going on in there. So I do
Yeah.
agree with you. So I just got a couple more little questions for you, and then we're going to wrap this up. But so the
Okay.
title of today's talk, we called it, like, everything you do matters, right? And so it seems like, right, it sounds like a lot of the things that you did in your, uh, you know, act one life, right? The first,
Yeah.
Kathy phase one, right? I always say I'm always Jill 2.0 right now, maybe 5.0, who knows at this point. But I know there are a lot of things that contribute to good health. What's one suggestion that you have for our audience to do that you think could be helpful for them?
I think, if you want to make a change, I think it's, well, I think just to evaluate like what you think healthy is to you. And if you do want to make a change, if you're not where you want to be, starting gradual, like, cause that's what I know you told me to think of a title. I'm like, oh, chill. but, but then I was thinking about how, like what I was talking about before, like the compound effect, just every little thing that you do is either moving you forward towards a goal or it's moving you backwards. And it's, so it all counts. And it's just being consistent with what it is like towards your goals. It's not like we'll take running a race. You can't just decide one day, okay, I'm going to just run a marathon, and maybe you could do it and finish it, but you're going to be like in a lot of pain and probably, as not as feel as good as you would have if you just started slowly, starting, a few months before running, eventually, adding time to the amount of time that you're running. The same with eating healthy. I think, yeah, you can have like the cookies, the cupcakes. Just one day of doing that is not going to kill you know, your goals and set you back. It's just what you do consistently. So that's, I think, just yeah, just being mindful of like what, and looking forward to what you could add to your health just little by little every day. I think it
Yeah.
all adds up to.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
So that's perfect. And that's because that's kind of always been my thing too, is the little changes. I don't know, after 15 years, you think I memorized this quote, but I never can, and I use it like all the time. So I just paraphrase it always. It's like it's ridiculous, but it's by John Maxwell. And it's basically, it's all just about, the secret of your success is found in your daily little changes that you make. So like you said, it's not that I'm running the marathon. It's all the little things that you do on a daily, consistent basis that allow that to happen. So I love
mhm.
that tip. That is just perfect. And so we've got a lot of actually, we've got some people on here. I want to read some more of the comments here. So that was kind of cool. That's something new on my streaming service where the comment pops up. I'm like, that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I never, I don't know. I didn't, but that was Ronnie. She says, what you eat and how much are first thoughts, habits, mindset. That's exactly right, Ronnie. Right. People think, somebody else said, people think if they're healthy that they're being deprived. Very much so. Right. Practice
Mhm.
healthy living every day. Right. All these absolutely wonderful, wonderful tips. And someone said, amazing interview. Right. Because you're definitely sharing some great things with
Yeah.
us. So if anybody, I know that, so I know that you're a new coach and that you're getting started out there, and that's one of my favorite things to do is to is to introduce people who are just starting out to an audience of people that I know, because it doesn't matter whether you've been coaching for 1 year, 10 years, 15 years, we all have different stories, different perspectives, and we connect with different people. So if somebody wanted to connect with you, they really were listening today and they too maybe have gone through an ordeal, right? And want to figure out how to come out the other side. How can they connect with you?
Well, I'm on Facebook,
Mhm.
obviously, and I'm also on Instagram.
Wonderful. And you have a website too? Oh, yes, you do. Let me hold on. I got to
Oh,
be
and
sure.
my
Let's see here. I'm
oh
going to put
yeah,
your
you got to
website
get
up.
there's my website.
There you go. Fancy, fancy.
Yes. Yes, and the intelligent health coaching was more about like the gut health, gut health and your mind,
Mhm.
how your gut health affects your mind and the rest of your body. So
Yeah. I think it's
that
all,
was kind of
yeah, the
yeah.
intelligence in general works in so many different wonderful ways. And so I want to thank, we've got, I was kind of trying, I keep looking over here because I got on my phone, I can see, I can't always see everybody who's on, but I think we had Marva on today, Michelle, Mary, Ronnie's on here. Anybody who's watching the replay, definitely thank you so much for watching, and definitely connect with Kathy. I know her as Kathy. I told her I call her
That's
Catherine
okay.
tonight. Okay. As she said, I'm a grown woman now. So,
No, that's okay.
so I'm just kidding you. But definitely connect with you a little longer. So I just wanted, before we end here, I just usually inspirational women have been inspired by other women. And so is there anybody that either inspired you for this journey or other journeys in your life in general? And, you know, who's somebody that you can think of? I love putting people on the spot a little bit, but
Oh, thank you. Well, I know the one person I can think of, and probably maybe a lot of people say this, but it's my mom. I think she, it's always your mom. She's always that voice in your head,
yeah.
and that's what I've heard. They're like, "You are the voice. You're going to be the voice in your kid's head." I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" But so, but yeah, just she, also was an immigrant to this country. She worked as a nurse, and I know that English was not her. Well, actually, she did learn a lot of English in the Philippines, but I know things were probably not that easy for her, and she had 3 kids, and she was working all the time. Well, she was working full time. My dad was working full time, and it just from her, I think we had to learn how to be independent because we were home, alone while she was working evenings, and I think that it definitely influenced me into choosing the career path that I am so thankful that I did, because even though I'm not doing it anymore. I'm just really thankful for all the experiences that it has brought, the people it has brought in my life, and yeah. So that she would be my inspiration.
Yeah, no, I had a feeling you were going to say that just because I know that she too was a nurse and so forth, and that's the perfect inspiration, and hopefully it's a good voice in your head with your mom there.
Oh yeah.
So, anyways, well, I just am excited to have had you on here, to have reconnected with you in life, to reconnected with you in as colleagues as well, and I look forward to kind of seeing your journey as a health coach. and would love to have you back, in another capacity. Maybe you've got a story. I'm always pushing people to write books. You got a story there, Catherine. So,
Oh,
put writing a book on your to-do list there, because I think you've got definitely a story to share, especially as you develop even more your own health coaching and your own, healthy living practices as well. So I am excited to have shared, your story, and I hope, ladies, that you have found. I not even hope. I know that you found some inspiration just by the comments and so forth. And thank you for hanging on there. And Kathy, you hang there for just a minute. I'm just going to wrap things up really quickly here, but
okay.
thank you again.
Thank you, Jill, and thanks everybody for your sweet words. I can see your comments.
Oh, good, good. All right, let me hide this real quick. All right, everybody. So, thank you so much for hanging with Catherine and I for tonight on the Women with Mojo Inspiring Conversations with Women Over 40 series. And I will be back hopefully next month with another amazing woman who just wants to share. I'm really this, I have different shows for different things. And this is really about sharing a woman's journey, right? And kind of the story of where she's been and how she's overcome and been able to find her mojo and is out there starting or already doing something wonderful in this world. So if you know anybody or you yourself feel you fit that bill, you've got a story. I don't care whether you have a business or a book or anything. I don't care if you do it. It doesn't have to have any, you don't have to be any kind of coach, anything like that at all. If you've just got an inspiring story to share that you think could help the Midlife Mojo community, then please connect with me or connect me with somebody, because I'm always looking for unique stories to share. So that is it. I've just got a little ending video to share with you, and look for us next month on the Women with Mojo show.